Sheila here with Sirius Talis Moon, and this is Mars Hour, Venus Day, and Ascendant is 1 degree Scorpio. Mars in Aries in the 6th house with the stellium in Aries, and Uranus 29 degrees Taurus. Midheaven ruled by the Sun 20 degrees Aries. Now, what do I think? This is part 2 about AI and dematerializing intellectual jobs. Um, what do I think about the fact that as a person who mainly could make money from intellectual jobs, and is absolutely incompatible for other jobs, okay? Um, and when it comes to like trafficking and stuff, I I think that I would consciously agree to drop an A bomb without any desensitization if I knew that there is no margin or a series of A bombs, no margins, because anyway, the structure of extortion cults leads to total humanity extinction, but there's no point to skip the steps. And if that is on board, then that can um, bring into question the many things that are basically lowering the frequency. Um, so that's kind of like the first thing that I think about with all the let's say trafficking agendas. Um, However, let's talk about a lighter facet. But when we talk about AI and technologization, it's gonna be easier to drop A bombs. It's gonna be easier to hack into systems. We see it with missiles, with drones. Actually, NATO is looking for gamers in order to intercept the drones. So gamers are really going to have um, a lot of job opportunities. Gamers, like, you're in a Gemini and gamers in the army, like that's just I'm not a gamer myself, so, and I don't have I have Cameron in Gemini, so the coordination is I opened the previous episode and I say, okay, what did they do in the time of the great philosophers? What did they do when a child was a bit off? They'd send them to study, to be a priest and study philosophy or medicine, by the way. and, and so, when I talk about what I studied or what I don't know, contributed. It's very weird to say contributed because contribution is kind of depends on if it's I was targeted probably because I made a contribution. So, and um, this is where if I ask myself, okay, how do I feel about? Oh, but if people think like, oh, intellectual and so on, it's probably a snub. No, I'm just incompetent at doing anything but thinking. I can paint, but it's, how should I say that? We'll have to remove a Peter ring for that. I can Los Alamos, like, develop. What if we developed a type of like an A bomb that didn't have margins? So the death would be immediate. But how do I feel about being in a position where all of the skills and faculties of thought and so on that I've acquired are not jobifying. Um, for me, as a keto in the tent house, relief. Because if the research is about going into universal basic income, and people that thought that this was a bad idea are going to think twice when their job is no longer jobifying, and when they find out that the reality of trafficking is not sex work is work. And in the end, they're going to be extorted, exposed, and if they don't tend to abolish extortion cults now, they might also be held accountable, which is um, I identified that gap 2-3 years ago, and addressed that to the best of my ability. Like I warn people, Uranus Aries conjunction, the Me Too, square Pluto. Of course, the world would not go back to what it was before the Me Too. It's not like, oh, they're gonna calm down. They're gonna calm down. So a couple of oil refineries gonna go down with that. It was calming because how do you find the military bases of the enemy? Um, where the trafficking places are. Nothing new. I said that before. So um, now, when that involves, let's say, the thinking professions, then there is a sense of, well, if I think about how do I feel about the fact that I've studied, accumulated skill, accumulated, like dedicated a lot of my time. First of all, I'm glad that it's Uranus because Uranus has a sense of detachment, and the way I see the world, the growth that I have as a person, that has not changed. The changes in astrology itself, that is going, that's accompanying me, that is going with me. Um, and then around the fourth house, well, in Gemini, there are many things that I can get excited about studying, whether it's languages and linguistics, or like there are many things that I can go into the field and wonder about what flowers do I pay attention to on which day, and the corresponding planets and so on, without having a sense of attachment as to what comes out. Um, which is the joy of Gemini. And for the survival worries of people, Falcon, abolish human trafficking, abolish slavery based death codes. That's the only thing that could answer the survival fears of everyone. It won't help you to get a job. It won't help you to get a job. The more successful you are at the job, the more you're going to be required to traffic. And I know that because that's the junctures that I took a step back from. And the more people are gonna fight and do whatever for that, then they gotta find that, oh well, AI took over. Oh, people are still gonna want a consultation of a wait, they had to target their clients. So something about that, um, on the one hand, acknowledgement, because with AI, there are many things, and astrology is just one of them, that are revived and acknowledged. Essentially, in Gemini transits of Uranus Gemini transits, we end up having more leisure time. So people are going to read more, people are going to become more literate, and they're going to become astrology literate. There are also technologies that allow us to communicate in various languages and understand each other. So many people are worried about, here's the thing, the people that teach, let's say, herbalism, or that teach astrology, or that whatnot, they were so worried that trafficking took over their professions, and then AI took over their professions. And it's particularly the people that succumbed to believing that it's okay to charge them for basic survival needs like housing. Now, I'm not saying that if somebody has a mansion and has a company that manages the estate, that they shouldn't pay benevolently. I mean, but I'm talking about the basis. I think we had an uptick in commodification. And by the way, nobody was completely exempt. I mean, I had a feel that I wanted. How should I say that? Um, that I want to enjoy the last bit of consumerism before. Okay, whether it's going out to that fancy sushi, not Michelin stars fancy sushi, but kind of like to enjoy consumerism while it's still there, knowing that it has a lot of cons. So, so I get to enjoy, I don't know, whether it's having a sushi or painting with oil paints even though it's controversial. Um, and and then by the time we embark away from something that never really sustained, I could get a sushi, but it's not like I could pay the rent and hold the business. And that sushi is lovely, but and it isn't like if I would eat potatoes and so on. I had a friend that ate potato. I love eating potatoes, but I had a friend that ate potatoes and apples and worked hard and saved and so on. So he would still be required to commit crime. So all of his savings didn't help him. And the people that dabbled into those things, I was, how do I know that? Because I was targeted. So if I'm targeted, I try to see, okay, what's the problem? What's the core issue? What's the structure here? And I'm like, well, these people are like, what are you telling me? You're going to compete with the people that do trafficking? I know you for 10 years. We did not share, we did not have cohabit. Like, you're competing with people that grew up in Melissa conditions. Then you're gonna get exposed because the goal is to get what you gotta get smug, you gotta get exposed. So that doesn't, in any case, whatever these people are doing for a living, that doesn't qualify for, oh, people are going to look for um, actually a person. And that's how the AI bubble expanded. Now, like I said, Gemini is not a happy season for people that think that they can enslave people and not have their entire factory burnt down. And so I definitely feel that those that um, that had these weird mindsets, thinking that they're gonna sustain themselves with crime and have a money laundering business, and try to deprive people of access to housing under the guise that everybody needs to work. Like these are death and concentration camps. People see it. It's and in that respect, I do think that um, a lot of the financial worries uh, are not there if people actually tackle them without pretending that they can sustain themselves by having to pay for everything, whether it's a house or a land or water or food, and have everything commodified. But at the same time, their presence in a community is also not not a commodity.